South Korean investigators seek an extension of a warrant to arrest impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. Media reports say Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau could announce his resignation as leader of the ruling Liberal Party as early as tonight. Hello, I'm Melissa Hekalea, and you're watching TVB News. South Korean investigators will seek an extension of a warrant to arrest impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. The arrest warrant is due to expire tonight. Yoon is under investigation for his ill-fated declaration of martial law on December 3rd, with a constitutional court set to decide his fate. An anti-graft agency probing allegations of insurrection and abuse of power against Yoon failed to take him into custody on Friday. It has asked the police to execute the arrest of Yoon, but the police have declined to take full charge of the matter. Nazvi Karim with more.
Near President Yoon Suk-yeol's official residence in Seoul, hundreds of protesters continue to call for his arrest. The authorities want to arrest him and are trying everything, but their problem is finding an enforcement arm to perform that task. Investigators from the agency that tackles corruption cases involving high-ranking officials, or CIO, tried on Friday. But after a 6-hour standoff with Yoon's own presidential security service, they gave up. The CIO then asked the South Korean police if they can execute the arrest warrant. At a briefing today, the police said they declined to take full charge of making the arrest. Deputy Chief of the Special Investigation Team, Baek Dong-hyun, said the document requesting police to arrest Yoon is legally controversial. Before the announcement, a police official said arresting Yoon may also require arresting members of his security service. Yoon's lawyer said the bid to transfer the execution of arrest is effectively a CIO admission that his warrant is illegal. Investigators are today trying to seek an extension of a 1-week warrant to arrest Yoon and a separate warrant to search his premises. Yoon is being investigated for declaring martial law on December 3rd. His decree that night lasted just 6 hours after it was blocked by the National Assembly, but not before plunging the country into political chaos. Yoon was subsequently impeached on December 14th and suspended from his duties. A former prosecutor himself, Yoon has vowed to fight any attempt to arrest and oust him. Staying in his official residence, which may house classified military documents, offers the president some protection under South Korean law. In the midst of the country's political crisis, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Seoul. He met Acting President and Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok and other senior government officials, saying the U.S. fully trusts South Korea's democracy. Blinken's trip, though, has been criticized by some in the U.S., including his deputy Kurt Campbell, who said it was badly misjudged. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
North Korea today reportedly fired a ballistic missile that flew 1,100 kilometers before landing in waters between the Korean peninsula and Japan. The South's Joint Chiefs of Staff said the missile was fired from near Pyongyang. This comes as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visits Seoul for talks. Blinken and South Korean Foreign Minister Cho Tae-il condemned the latest North Korean missile launch, Pyongyang's first since November 5th. The weapon fired by the North appears to be an intermediate-range ballistic missile. Blinken, who will leave his post when Donald Trump is sworn in as U.S. president on January 20th, vowed unwavering support for South Korea. He also expressed U.S. concerns over growing military ties between North Korea and Russia.
Now, this is a two-way street. The DPRK is already receiving Russian military equipment and training. Now, we have reason to believe that Moscow intends to share advanced space and satellite technology with Pyongyang, and that Putin may be close to reversing a decades-long policy by Russia and accepting DPRK's nuclear weapons program.
Canadian media is reporting that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is expected to announce as early as today that he'll quit as leader of Canada's ruling Liberal Party. Tracy Furness has more.
Justin Trudeau has been leader of the Liberal Party since 2013 and Canada's Prime Minister for 9 years. His departure would leave the party without a permanent head at a time when polls show the Liberals would lose badly to the opposition Conservatives in an election that must be held by late October. Sources told Canadian media outlets that they expect Trudeau would announce his plans to leave before an emergency meeting of Liberal legislators on Wednesday. An increasing number of Liberal parliamentarians, alarmed by a series of gloomy polls, have publicly urged Trudeau to quit. Trudeau took over as Liberal leader in 2013 when the party was in deep trouble and had been reduced to third place in the House of Commons for the first time. If he does resign, it would likely spur fresh calls for a quick election. Calls for Trudeau to step aside have grown since December when he tried to demote Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, one of his closest cabinet allies, after she pushed back against his proposals for more spending. Freeland quit and penned a letter accusing the 53-year-old leader of political gimmicks rather than focusing on what was best for the country. The Prime Minister's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment on his stepping down. But Canadian media said it is unclear whether Trudeau will leave immediately or stay on as Prime Minister until a new Liberal leader is selected. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Malaysia's imprisoned former Prime Minister Najib Razak has won an appeal to pursue his bid to serve his remaining corruption service sentence under house arrest. In an application in April last year, Najib said he had clear information that then-King Sultan Abdullah issued a house arrest addendum order. Najib claimed the addendum was issued during a pardons board meeting on January 29th last year that also cut his 12-year jail sentence by half and sharply reduced a fine. But the High Court tossed out his bid 3 months later. The Court of Appeals, in a 2-1 ruling today, ordered the High Court to hear the merits of the case. The decision came after Najib's lawyer produced a letter from a Pahang State Palace official confirming that then Sultan Abdullah had issued the addendum order. The lawyer said Najib gave the thumbs up in court when the ruling was read out. Austria's president is meeting with the leader of the far-right Freedom Party, Herbert Kickl, and is expected to ask him to form a government and try to become the new chancellor. Karl Nehammer of the People's Party resigned as chancellor after talks with other parties aimed at keeping Kickl from power collapsed. The People's Party has already nominated Christian Stoker as an interim replacement for Nehammer. It remains to be seen if Stoker will work with Kickl. Kickl's party came out on top in September's election with 29% of votes. His rivals could have joined together to form a government. But with Nehammer as chancellor, potential partners failed to agree on economic policy. The High Court has approved the establishment of Nina Wang Charity Management Limited as the trustee of the charitable trust of the estate of the late tycoon Nina Wang. The Department of Justice today appointed 3 people to supervise the operation of the trustee. Mimo Singhai reports.
Nina Wang passed away in 2007. In her will, Wang wished to entrust her wealth of $83 billion to the China Chem Charitable Foundation. The Department of Justice today named 3 people as members of a supervisory managing organization to oversee a trustee of the estate of Wang. They are former Legislative Council President Rita Fan, former Monetary Authority Chief Joseph Yam, and former Baptist University Council Chairman Chen Yanqi. Their responsibilities include supervising the business operations of the China Chem Group, approving the group's financial budget, and major decisions based on Wang's will. The Justice Department said the appointments will bring benefits to the country and different sectors of Hong Kong. The late tycoon made her will in 2002, and it was not confirmed as the final one until 2011. In 2015, the Court of Final Appeal said the China Chem Charitable Foundation is the trustee of the estate, but not the full beneficiary. The High Court in 2023 ruled the foundation was not fit to serve as the estate trustee, and a new trust needed to be established. Mimo Singhai, TVB News.
Still ahead, Hamas offers a new ceasefire deal with a release of some hostages. And the last day of this year's Hong Kong Brands and Products Expo. Welcome back. Details have emerged of a new offer from Hamas, although Israel is denying a ceasefire is close. Hamas says Israeli troops must leave Gaza and a sustained aerial bombardment must stop, while they have drawn up a list of hostages to be freed. As the international diplomatic push to end the war heads into yet another week, Israel's attacks on Hamas show no sign of stopping. David Garrett reports.
Protests that may be having an impact. Finally, some demands could be met. Families again protesting in Tel Aviv at the weekend, urging the Israeli government to act to strike a deal to bring home Hamas-held hostages. The Palestinian group has reportedly approved a list of 34 captives that could be freed, which could then lead to a ceasefire. The Israeli government says it has not yet seen a list. Amid a renewed diplomatic push to end the war before US President Joe Biden leaves office in a fortnight, another surge in Israeli military activity. The Givati Brigade going through several deserted and destroyed buildings as they hunt down Hamas fighters on foot. An expansion of Israeli firepower in the air too. Explosions light up the early morning sky above the Gaza-Israel border. Israel rejoined peace negotiations on Friday, but there was intense fighting over the weekend. The aim to stop carnage and chaos like this. Semi-conscious men carried by volunteers for treatment. With makeshift bandages on wounds, the injured are transported in any way possible to the emergency room. These people survived, but health authorities say Israeli airstrikes killed 8 in 2 separate attacks on camps in central Gaza. Inside the hospital, a small boy is placed on the bed. He is told not to worry. His ordeal is over. David Garrett, TVB News.
Back locally, Next Digital founder Jimmy Lai continued to take the stand to defend himself in his national security trial. Lai appeared in court for the first time since the 19th of last month. A video of Lai's talk show from October 2020 was played during the proceedings in which the former media tycoon described Taiwan as a country. When asked by Judge Esther To if this statement meant Taiwan could become an independent state by following the U.S. policy on China, Lai disagreed but said there are better ways to describe the island. The defense also displayed an article from the same month that mentioned the U.S. and Taiwan were establishing closer military ties. Lai said he didn't encourage the two parties to strengthen their cooperation, but was merely describing the situation. And residents today flocked to the Hong Kong Brands and Products Expo at Victoria Park on the final day of the event. Organizers estimate that the 24-day fair attracted about 1.3 million visitors. Mimo Singai reports.
On the final day of the Brands and Products Expo, many residents arrived before the fair opened in the morning. At 10:55 a.m., the venue was open to visitors. Among the dried seafood stalls, a queue quickly formed outside this one, where canned abalone was offered at a discounted price. This woman, who came to buy abalone and fish maw, said she wanted to help boost the city's economy. Some visitors said they had never been to the expo before, but were glad to be here this year.
I think it's good. It's a good price. Some of the food is a little expensive, but most of the things are good prices, yeah. Just to see what it was like, and I didn't expect to buy so much, but we bought a lot, so yeah.
While the fair covered the Christmas and New Year holidays, some vendors said their revenue had decreased when compared with the past, citing the poor economic environment as one of the factors.
Slight decrease, probably 10%. Yeah, mainly the local people have gone overseas, go abroad to go travel. Therefore, we did not observe a significant increase.
However, the expo's organizer, the Chinese Manufacturers Association, said the fair was not affected by the festive season.
Our exhibitions are across 24 days, So for the visitors, even they go to Shenzhen or are going out for traveling, but when they come back Hong Kong, they will come to the expo.
Meanwhile, the association said the number of mainland visitors had gone up by 30%.
The organizers said they had seen an increase in younger visitors to the expo this year, and they hope to include more activities to attract that age group next year. Memos 9, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.